What does it mean that we live in a secular age? The first thing that might come to mind is the decrease of Christian influence in the public square. A few hundred years ago in the West, the church occupied the central place in the city, where no building could be higher than the steeple of the church, when holidays and community life revolved around the calendar of the church, and where language and stories of the church made up the shared language and story for all people. In short, religion was everywhere in public life and woven into everything, making it impossible to avoid. Today, however, Christianity no longer occupies the central or sacred place in Western society, finding itself opposed, placed on the sidelines, or at best, as one voice of many in a crowded marketplace of beliefs and ideas. Some may celebrate this change in the religious tides, while for others, it's something to lament. Either way, it's impossible to ignore that we have become more secular. Another way to view our secular age is the decline in personal religious belief and practice. We may hear stories from history when everyone went to church, or when almost everyone in Western society believed in God. In fact, it may have been nearly impossible not to believe. Today, we witness a sharp, consistent decrease in individual belief, specifically among younger generations. This downturn can result in a deep sense of loss for those who long to pass on faith to the next generation, only to feel rejected, hopeless, and out of touch. Regardless of how we look at the data or how we process it emotionally, the information seems clear. In the West, we've moved from a Christian society to a secular age. But is this the best or most helpful definition of secular? Enter Canadian philosopher Charles Taylor. In the introduction to his 2007 book, A Secular Age, Taylor lays out three important concepts that help us understand our cultural moment, which might allow us to live more authentically and minister more faithfully in a secular age. First, Taylor rejects secularization's subtraction stories, which are narratives that propose a simplistic and singular reason for why religion is no longer relevant. A subtraction story may sound something like this. We used to be superstitious and irrational people who believed in gods and fairies, but now, through the tools of science and intellect, we have become enlightened and don't need God anymore. In A Secular Age, Taylor shows that the transition from a Christian society to a secular age is much more complicated, what he calls a zigzag account, full of unintended consequences. In other words, to say that science or progress equals secularization is too simplistic. Rather, our secular age is the result of many different stories, discoveries, and ideas, often propagated by Christians themselves. Secondly, Taylor is adamant that regardless of whether we miss a Christian society or we are glad that the era is over, we can't go back. This is an integral insight from Taylor because much of the energy and focus of Christian denominations, ministries, and individuals is spent with just this goal: to reverse the leak of people leaving the church, strengthen one's personal faith until there is no longer doubt, or show our neighbors that the data proves that Jesus was the Son of God. For Taylor, while these efforts may be well-intentioned, they are ultimately futile and will only lead to disappointment, exhaustion, and burnout. Not only does this backwards-facing mindset keep us tired and stuck in the past, but it also blinds us from what Taylor sees as the real opportunity of this moment. Taylor suggests a third way. What if, instead of tirelessly trying to get back to a golden age of Christianity in the West, we shifted our perspective and tried to understand and live faithfully in this secular age? What if we learned to ask new questions like, why is it so hard to believe even if I want to? What does it mean to have a good life? What's the vision of flourishing and fullness that compels us? And how can I live an authentic faith? At the center of it all, we might ask, what does it mean to be human today? For Taylor, these questions get closer to the heart of understanding and living faithfully and authentically within our secular age. And they're the invitation to Taylor's work, where we might learn the stories that have led us to the secular age in the hopes that a new and faithful Christianity might emerge.